So at the main stage of GreenTech, here we are with Meiny Prins from Priva. Greetings to you.
Nice to meet.
We're talking about transformation and the people factor.
Okay.
I'm very interested to hear all that's going on. First question really to you is, you're talking about progress and transformation, but why?
Oof. Nice question to start with. Quite some answers too. Transformation, you mean how? The world transforming or business transforming or people transforming? All of them?
All of the above, but everything which is
Okay.
related to horticulture and the way we feed ourselves.
Okay. So it is kind of interesting to see what's happening now. I mean, we are in the middle of it, and that is called COVID. So it is a virus.
See you there?
Yes. And the virus also shows very clearly now that it's a welfare disease, meaning that in like the major cities like New York, if you see where it hits hard, it is in those areas where there's also a lack of healthy food.
Food deserts,
Yes,
I
they call
believe,
them, yes.
the term
Yes,
can be
indeed.
sometimes, yeah.
Food deserts, they call them.
Yeah.
So people have high blood pressures, sugar, anything that is caused by the food processing industry, if I may say so. So that is one. Then the second one is there is a enormous rise of the middle class, what is good news, but more and more people are able to buy good food. So good and healthy food. Most of that food is not available in supermarkets yet. If you look in Africa, for example, or in China. So that is the second one. And then the third one, we have something that's called climate change.
I've heard of it.
So the UN already predicted that the combination with climate change and the way we produce food today, and then I'm mostly talking about staple food, so large scale, central, is going to be disastrous for people to have their food available. And that won't take too long. So that is going very fast at this moment.
But I heard someone ask the question, what is the plan?
Well, it's an opportunity. So if you combine these, then we also can say, wow, this is a major challenge, but it's also a major opportunity. And then if you look at the change and you say technology, I mean, technology itself will be available, will be cheaper to buy, affordable, but the most impact is done by the people themselves. Mm-hmm. So people are the change. People will make the change. They are the ones that are causing the disruptives, as we can say so, by starting to use massively this new technology that is especially ease of use. So to make it ease of use, people will start using it. And you saw that already, of course, with Uber, a nice example. Major disruptive, just because it was easy to use.
Yeah.
And that will happen more.
We saw this morning in the opening ceremony here a word or two from David Attenborough. You may have seen his documentary, Life on Earth. And he was saying basically if we carry on as normal, population carries on burgeoning to 10 billion, then we're going to need a tremendous amount of additional farming land, twice the size of India by 2050 if we carry on the way things are going with extra consumption, as you said, as people become more prosperous of meat, especially as well. And he was saying, we have to change our diet. We have to move a lot more to less animal-based diet and plant-based diet. And through that alone, we will be able to more than produce the amount of food we need for this world.
I think, this virus is a warning. If this is not working, so we are not listening to this one, then the next one will come for sure.
Perhaps
and if
more severe.
More severe. And then if we're still not listening, then climate change comes in even worse. So if we like it or not, we have to move. And we better do it quickly. And I think according to the technology that is available, we have it and we know it. The big major problem, of course, too, is those people that have to get used to work with this new technology. And how nice is it that as companies we can help somehow by adapting it ourselves and by making sure that it is ease of use for others. So to follow and to be attached to this new world.
I'm not going to let you get into the technology just yet. We will talk
No.
about Priva and some solutions and some ideas and what can be done there. But let's stick with the people factor, because you said technology is available.
Yeah.
That is not the issue. The issue is really getting people to change behaviors, change the mindsets, get rid of some of the factors which are contributing to the problems which we're facing.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? I mean, as a technology company, it's probably not at least, only your role. Do you see Priva playing a role, though, in that re-education?
Yeah, I'm very much a believer that at the end, it is an inspiring vision that makes people believe and follow. And it's a lack of this inspiring vision with so many leaders in this world that we do not follow. And you see that everywhere at this moment. So I'm a believer, yes, the technology will make the change at the end, but that the fact that the one who is pushing to really do that, you need something that is adapting this and that is believing in it and that says, okay, let's push and make sure that we have and create this environment where we can just allow to make mistakes and to have those innovations there and to create those disruptives and to make different business models and to allow businesses to sell services instead of products, and that you have different banks and that the financial system behind it will be different. That is what you need. This infrastructure for entrepreneurs to create this world, what we can already in technology, that is what we need. And I think that the cities should do that. That is my point too. I don't believe in the leaders of those major countries, and not even from our own small country, to be honest, because it is a lack of the vision. They should provide us with a direction and say, okay, this is the way we go. And we know that this will bring the new economics too. And okay, it hurts now, but it will be good later. If you have that, then people say, okay, let's go through it, and then we move. But they won't. So let's then look at the cities, and they are enormous. So the amount of people living there, I mean, you cannot just keep on flying in all the food for 27 million people. That is crazy. So let's start with the majors of the big cities. That's much nicer.
But many of them are giving, great inspiration towards the future. I'd even talk about Amsterdam. Not that I know it an awful lot, but I know that Amsterdam, for example, has basically subscribed to donut economics.
Yes.
So which I love the concept of from Kate Raworth, the Oxford professor. The idea came from her, and donut economics is the ring of donuts. So anybody in the gap, of course, is living below a sustainable means of life, not having sufficient resources. Anyone living outside the exterior of the donut is expleting and exploiting and using too many resources, but it's right there in the middle. And Amsterdam, I believe, has subscribed to this, as many cities are starting to as well. Do you have a comment on that in particular, and maybe where Amsterdam is going, or other cities in the Netherlands that you find inspiring personally?
Well, I think I find many cities pretty inspiring. I find the Netherlands in its whole pretty inspiring. We don't always see it like that, but we do have quite some examples and smaller cases and smaller pilots. If you would write like a little book or note and just start writing down all the examples that we have in the Netherlands from all kinds of integrated solutions, or where energy is being produced by growers to urban parts, or where you're connected to data centers, or where wastewater from cities being reused, or where we make from water energy, or just move on, just continue. I mean, the list will be endless. And the cities like Amsterdam, they have, at least they have an ambition. They spoke out, and word contain, so word carry on the future. So word make it possible. So let's start speaking it out and say, yes, we can. And that's what Amsterdam did. And I think if we would invite here Abu Talib, he would say, I always said that the city should embrace its green belts, so its food producing areas, because they are important for our cities. Yeah, I think more cities are, if it is according to technology or robotics or Eindhoven or Westland itself needs to move on a little bit, of course, but they have the fibers. Huh?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we had Jaap Bond from the top sector, the
Yes.
chair of the top sector for horticulture, in a panel a little earlier, and he was talking about the triple helix of collaboration that the Netherlands pushes very strongly in many sectors, including horticulture. So the combination of policy making, research and science and business, and all really working united. So perhaps that's a good key forward, and why some of the case studies, or the list of case studies, is so
Yes.
long in the Netherlands. So excellent. Right, let's come to Priva a little bit more. We were speaking to Don just a little bit earlier from Priva, and he was explaining a little bit about the platform. And I'd like to really understand from your perspective, what is it that Priva is doing to help make a more sustainable world a reality?
It is on different layers, and that makes it also complex to understand yourself to understand it yourself as a company in the first place. Right? So you're used that you have your computer as it is. It's a process computer. It's wonderful. It's like a control, and that is our heart. We are in controls, and that is the business. But then of course there comes the new opportunities in different technologies, like Internet of Things, of cloud, your cloud environment, or and you look at your computer and you see that means that you have to kind of disconnect your different layers to be able to communicate with other different layers. And that is not only if you say my hardware will be ready for Internet of Things use, meaning that we make it easier to connect new sensors to the platform, meaning that it's easier for our installers to work with it, and that is what we want, that it's easier for installers to work and do commissioning of high-performance greenhouses, or do the services afterwards even better than they ever did before. So that is like one part. If installers are able to do their job easier, then they can also hire different people with different skills who can do this job easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all have the same problem, and that is a lack of skilled people.
Yeah.
It's in the installers world, the greenhouse builders world, so that's the technical partners of Priva, but it's also about our growers in the world. So to make it easier to grow a profitable crop is your other layer that you need. So your operating platform, so how do you operate your greenhouse? Or even your services that are now in the cloud. Can we do this plantonomy, as Don talked about
That's
too?
it, and the 60,000
Yes.
controls.
Or many other services, or even on top of that, can we build as Priva that ecosystem? So then finding other partners that can also add their services in our cloud environment and combine it with our services that even will help or our installers or our greenhouse builders or the investors or the growers with their needs, and
So
to help
making
them
the technology
grow.
as accessible as possible, as open as possible, so that it can foster collaboration.
I think when I started working for Priva, there was one thing at that point that I noticed, and I thought to myself, this is really something that we are doing. And that was, if you're in the process control and you can really manage and help your growers to have a better profit at the end of the year or do their business better, using less energy and reusing as much water as possible, that was sustainability in its heart. And I think, okay, Priva, we're on the right path. So we go in the right way, the right direction. That's already many years ago. If you look now, it is an essential part of the whole horticulture business, the way we will produce food the coming decennia for sure. So it's now a need, you know what I mean? So that is nice. Eh? So what was at that time an ambition is today a need. I think many of our business and entrepreneurs in our horticulture world, they're specialized in niche markets. But the niche markets will probably become the big markets, of tomorrow.
So we're talking about digitalisation, especially becoming a facilitator for this need to transform things.
Yes.
Good. And you've waited some time really to unpack your Christmas present, if you want to put it this way.
And then you say that to someone with a marketing background, huh? It's not really nice. Yeah.
But you've been very cautious to make sure that your digital services are exactly in line with what is needed. This is what Don was helping to explain a little earlier as well, and made sure that you're not doing any beta testing or whatever on clients, etc. So has this been part of it? Because you put a lot of energy and resources into developing this platform for digital services.
There is so much around it. So what I especially learned the last 4 to 5 years, it is not only developing a app that collects some data and say, hey, we can give you these insights. There is also not only bring up all the data into a cloud environment and then it's there, but you want to control back. So we also have to go back. And then what you do in that primary process or in a building, you have to be sure that it is okay, what you're doing. It is the cloud environment needed to be built very secure. So people were used that if you use a Priva system, it is secure. You have to have the same. Of course, when you are in some cloud environment, it has to be very, very, very secure. So that's a lot of work. And we got compliments by Microsoft, by the way, by the way it's secured. Then, of course, you have the systems around it. So what does it mean for your infrastructure behind your website? What does it mean for your service people? Because it's not only on site doing service, but also digital. What does it mean for your R&D people if there is a bug in somewhere in a service, as we say now? They have to be there also in the weekend to make sure that this is being solved for our customers in Mexico or in China or in the Netherlands. Huh?
So the transformation had to start in your own company before you could start to shake up the market almost, if you like.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and it's a learning path.
Right.
Because it's not like a book that you can read and say, okay, we're going to follow these lines. No. Because it is your domain knowledge and you have to understand from out of your domain knowledge, how can you add value to the customer? And when is he willing, indeed, to stay connected to your business so you can survive, both and all of us developing this all for many years.
What kind of feedback have you had from the marketplace? Because I've understood that a couple of customers have started using the digital suite already.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Maybe I can explain it even better from out of a building example, but then also to understand what it does and the surprise behind it. So it's not, you cannot predict everything, of course, what the outcome is and where the customer feels surprised about. That is also the nice way of working. So it's not about many things that you're changing in your company. It's also about finding younger or other skilled people. So different skilled people with, you need to look at a different way of working. It's more agile. You have your feedback direct from the customer directly connected to the ones who are developing the software suites or the services. So the way of working is very different. But that also makes that you're much more connected to this customer directly. So that is what Phil does. Huh? So Phil directly feeds himself with these direct results given by customers themselves. And that's so the way of working is very, very, very nice.
And you spend a tremendous amount of your revenue back in the company. You reinvest a lot of it. And I understand it's by all benchmarks quite a high amount. And is that part of this transformation of Priva into a digital services enabler, or?
Also, and it's not always, how do you say that? It is not easy. So if you do that for 4 to 5 years and you put back all your revenues, so say you have a certain revenue and 80% of that just goes back into the company because you have to invest double. You have to maintain your current business and your customers. And then you have this new part that needs to be developed, but you cannot do this just like small scale, so it has to be serious. So those are those two are quite some investments. Then after 4 or 5 years, you also notice that if you want to grow and to scale up, of course, then even more money is needed by most companies. So first you spend, then you want to scale up, and then you need more. So you go to the bank, and then of course say, hey, we have big ambitions, and it looks all perfect, and we know that's working, and we have our first customers. Help us scale up. Yeah, but the last 4 or 5 years now, the revenue was not too good. Your EBITDA was too low, so we don't believe. We want to see it first, and then we come back. You know what I mean, huh? And so it's not only for many companies. I think this whole digital transition is very difficult because the backup on that side is not so back, and then on the other side, start selling services instead of hardware also asks a lot from financial institutions.
Absolutely.
Huh? Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to move on to our final point now, and that is around the people transformation factor. And let's look towards the future now. So you have your digital services suite, the platform, launched, ready, in operation with certain customers. We heard from Red Sun in Mexico, for example. Very, very almost surprised by how simple it works, and very pleased with the results. So congratulations there. In terms of transforming people and how this platform can now assist that process, where do you see it being in 2, 3, or perhaps 5 years? So the foreseeable future in regards to transforming the industry and the use of digitalization.
I think if you talk about the platform we developed, of course, our ambition is to be the integration, so the integrator, the integration platform of many services or things that we can add to our customers' needs. That is one. To do that, really, you have to build that ecosystem. And ecosystems you build with partners. You know that they're still there in 5 or 10 years. They are reliable. They have a good name in their technology. They have like the same blood and the same kind of culture. So and that will be for many more companies too, not only for Priva, but for us it's a very, very clear strategy. And so first, the strategy, if you talk about these digital services, is our growing, help our installers to grow more international in this whole field of all technology that is available. And the second one, of course, is if we can help if we can help our growers to make it easier to also maintain anything they need to grow their businesses. And the last one is, of course, build up this ecosystem with all different partners to keep on growing ourselves too. And that will be an interesting time.
Excellent. Speaking of time, it is our enemy. Thank you so much for joining us. You are available, and your team, of course, through the GreenTech online platform. And there's matchmaking availability there and asking questions, and you're really interested in a lot more engagement to describe it in a bit more detail. But for now, A big thank you, Meiny. All the best of success.
Thank you very
and,
much.
yeah, let's see how everything develops over the next months and years with Priva. We'll be watching very closely.
Thank you, Andrew. It was nice talking.
Thank you, Meiny.
Thank you.